there's been so many things going on with Apple in the past like month and a half. Obviously, there was Steve Jobs stepped down as CEO. Tim Cook became the new CEO. The iPhone 4S came out, and then Steve Jobs died, which was really like the biggest news. When you think Steve Jobs, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think Steve Jobs was a genius. I mean, I think he really made me like something that I didn't want to like. I was kind of resistant to the iPod. I was resistant to the Mac. I thought, I don't really need one. This is kind of confusing. Like, why do I have to put my finger in a circle? And then it just came around everywhere, and you realized how easy it was to use. And everyone always talks about Apple not kind of like trying to keep up with the market, but like deeming what the market's gonna be. They're gonna tell you what you want. You're not gonna be like, I want a phone with 3 cameras. Apple's gonna make one with 4 cameras before you think about that thought. And I think Steve Jobs just had that vision, as not just himself, but his whole team, and his crazy attitude, his good work ethic.
I mean, yeah, he's got good work ethic, and I think, he was a very smart person, but I think he was also very lucky. Because one of the things that I disagree with Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs did not believe in consultant consumers. He says if you just ask people what they want, they'll just say, I want what I have right now, but just faster and stuff. And that was his point of view. And I think Steve Jobs was lucky because he had really good taste. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because Steve Jobs made products that Steve Jobs wanted, and it just happened to be that the stuff that Steve Jobs wanted, most of the time, that's what consumers also wanted, Yeah. I mean, I kind of just criticize him on...
No, I think that's ridiculous. Like, you can't... I don't know, I think to say he got lucky, like, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So it's kind of... It's hard to say that...
Are you quoting a post right now?
I'm not.
Oh, okay, that's good. You should coin that.
Kind of like, you can believe in luck and not... To say that... I know what you're saying about his tastes and, kind of timing and stuff. But I still think he was kind of ahead of his time, and whether or not it was him himself or his people, or just I think his vision, or just reading about him now, how crazy he was in the office, what he expected of his people, what he expected of his engineers, the turnaround time. You know what I mean? It's unique compared to a lot of people, but there are a lot of great innovators over time. There's no doubt.
And I mean, I criticize him, but he's still, I'll admit, an idol to me.
Yeah.
Like but I mean, I've always been like that, where like I idolize people, but I'll still criticize them. I still look for their faults and stuff like that. I mean, you have to come to terms with the fact that he was a bully in some ways. I mean, seriously, he was. Sure. I mean, I read the story where when the iPhone first came out, it was supposed to have a plastic cover on top, and there was some very important reasons for that. Plastic doesn't break as easy as glass. Smudges, also it smudges less, there's less fingerprints and stuff on it. And then like a week or something before the iPhone came out, he had a meeting. He was like, you know what, guys, I have to have the glass. I know you guys have told me not to go for glass, but I need to have it.
Right. But that's amazing. That's power. That's like, he can kind of dictate what's going to happen. Sure. I'm sure he could throw a flash, and he could throw in a 12 megapixel camera on, he probably just made that decision, I'm not going to include it. Then he stuck to his guns, he's probably, like you said, not that type of guy to give in like that. But in terms of like capabilities, he probably made that decision badly at the first point, and then said, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to switch over. I think calling him lucky kind of takes away from him.
No, I think he was smart. Don't get me wrong. I think he was really, really smart.
I think there's a lot of luck and timing in everything. You know what I mean? Everything from music to technology, filling in a void. Yeah. Like Facebook and whatever social media, social networking was like, or if the internet's here, how can we do more? Like, how can we get it more interactive?
When you bring up social networking too, I think like Mark Zuckerberg had the luck of also having amazing taste, because Facebook was not the first social network out there. MySpace had been there for a long time, but he really made it in a way that was like addicting. Yeah. Just by changing a couple of things, Yeah. Like he didn't really invent the concept of social networking, And people at MySpace, I'm sure, had envisioned social networking being a huge component in the future, but they just didn't have the taste factor in there. Like that's why I think you know, he was smart. I'm not saying he wasn't smart. I think he was a genius for sure. Yeah. But I think he was also blessed with really good taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think I just succumbed to him because of his success. You know, I used to be like, Macs aren't cool, iPods aren't cool. You know, but because he did so well, because I still don't own an iPod. I mean, I need to buy one. I still don't have a tablet or a MacBook, but I still support the product, and I still think it's a little too expensive. I don't want to pay that extra because you can still buy cheaper alternatives to do the same job. But I bought the HP tablet, and it's super awesome. It does everything I can do, and I was like, hey, can I see it? They're like, oh, this is not an iPad. And I'm like, it's the same thing. They're like, no, take it back. You know, I'm just like,
take it back and leave.
And I'm just like, you know, I'm talking to like my 9-year-old cousins, and they're like, oh, it's cool, but it's not an iPad. And I'm like, you're 9 years old, you know, like, what the hell?
I didn't know you had a tablet.
I don't even use it. Okay, so
you don't use it.
It sits there. You know,
Okay.
There's no practical use for it. It's just for fun.